What if I told you that the way most of us think about money, how to earn it, save it, spend it, is completely backwards? I'm not talking about budgeting apps or stock tips. I'm talking about the psychology of money. If you've seen part 1, you already know this isn't just about spreadsheets. It's about how we, as humans, make money decisions emotionally first and logically second. Like, remember Mike Tyson? Made over $400 million in his career, bought tigers, a $2 million bathtub, then bankrupt, $23 million in debt. How does that happen? Was he dumb? No. He just didn't understand the mental game of money, the stuff no one teaches you. In this video, we're going deeper. We will see some brand new lessons from the book that blew my mind. Because once you understand how money works up here, in your brain, not just on paper, you unlock a whole new level of freedom. Lesson 1, no one's crazy. Okay, so let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at someone making a money decision and thought, what are you doing? Like someone buying a brand new car with a 7-year loan when they're living paycheck to paycheck. Or someone investing all their savings into meme coin during a hype wave. And you're like, dude, are you crazy? But here's the thing, they're not crazy. At least not in their own mind. This blew my mind when I first got it. People make decisions with money based on their own life experiences. Think about this. If you grew up during the 2008 financial crash, watched your parents lose their jobs, maybe even your house, you probably have this deep, almost emotional reaction to the word stocks. You might avoid investing completely, even if it makes sense now. Meanwhile, someone who saw Bitcoin go from $500 to $60,000 feels like crypto is the smartest bet ever. Between 1920 and 2020, the US stock market returned an average of about 10% per year. That's insanely good long term. But during that same time, people lived through the Great Depression, World Wars, oil crises, 9/11, the dot-com crash, 2008, and COVID. So yeah, on a graph it looks smooth. In real life, it felt like chaos. So if someone is hoarding cash under their mattress or refusing to invest in the market, it's not because they're dumb. It's because they remember pain. Maybe their grandpa lost everything in 29. Maybe their job got wiped in the pandemic. Their money story is built on fear. Yours might be built on optimism. And neither one is crazy. Once you realize no one's crazy, you stop judging people's money choices and start understanding them. And even better, you start forgiving yourself for your own weird money habits. You stop beating yourself up for why you didn't invest earlier, or why you overspent during your 20s. You were just reacting to what the world taught you at the time. I mean, when I first got my paycheck from my first real job, I blew it all on sneakers, video games, and takeout. Not because I was irresponsible, but because growing up, money was tight. And now that I finally had a little bit of it, I wanted to feel free, like I could finally enjoy life. Was it smart? No. Was it logical? Probably not. Everyone's financial behavior makes perfect sense to them. So if someone else's choices look ridiculous to you, just remember, you're not seeing their full story, you're just seeing the result. Lesson 2, you and me are playing different games. Alright, quick question. Have you ever scrolled through Twitter or watched someone on YouTube making some wild investment move and thought, wait, am I doing this wrong? Like you see some 22-year-old throwing money into meme stocks or someone YOLOing their life savings into crypto, and for a second you're like, maybe I should be doing that too. Here's where it gets interesting. You're probably not even playing the same game as them, and that's one of the biggest reasons people make dumb money moves. They copy players from a totally different field. Think about it like this. Imagine you're at a poker table in Vegas. Some people are tourists, just playing for fun. They've got $200 they're willing to lose. Then there's a pro. This is how they make a living. They've studied the game, they've got a strategy, they're thinking 10 moves ahead. And then there's that guy who's just drunk, doesn't know the rules, and is going all in every hand like it's blackjack. Now imagine you're watching from across the room, and you try to copy that drunk guy because he won one hand. That's what most people are doing when they see viral finance content online. They're mimicking players who aren't even in their league, in a game that isn't even theirs. Even inside your friend circle, some might be saving for retirement, some trying to buy a house, others just stacking cash for a 3-month Euro trip. So why would you all follow the same money advice? This lesson right here, once you get it, you stop being distracted by noise. You gotta know what game you're playing. Are you trying to build wealth slowly and safely, or are you trying to triple your money in 3 months? And once you're clear on that, everything else becomes way easier. You're not swayed by hype. You're not stressed by volatility, because you're not playing their game. You're playing yours. That's why sometimes the best financial advice is just ignore them. They're not you. Lesson 3, the greed trap. There's this story about Rajaratnam, a billionaire hedge fund guy. He was already worth hundreds of millions, set for life. Private jets, mega mansions, the works. But he got caught in one of the biggest insider trading scandals ever. Why? He wanted more. Not needed. Wanted. At that level, money doesn't even change your lifestyle anymore. It's just scoreboard ego. Now I know what you're thinking. Yeah, but that's billionaires, not me. But this shows up in everyday stuff too. Like, you start investing. Your goal is to make 10% a year. But one day you see someone on Reddit make 30% in a week. Now you want that. So you start chasing riskier stuff. Crypto coins with weird names, options you don't fully understand, all because maybe I could get more. And then market drops. And you're like, what just happened to my plan? That's how greed quietly wrecks good strategy. It whispers, just a little more, then you'll be happy. But it never tells you what enough looks like. Daniel Kahneman once said, happiness doesn't come from getting everything. It comes from not needing everything. Because at some point, more money stops being about security. It starts being about status. And that's when things get dangerous. You see it in the news all the time. Rich people still making reckless bets. Because when there's no definition of enough, greed becomes the boss. But you can beat this. You just have to define your own version of enough. Like a target. A point where you can say, cool, I'm good now. I don't need to keep chasing. It could be, I want 50K in savings, or I want to work only 4 days a week, or I want to retire at 45. Whatever it is, make it real. Make it yours. Because if you don't set a finish line, someone else will set it for you. And let's be honest, what's the point of building wealth if you can't even enjoy it? Lesson 4, compounding. Okay, imagine this. You're walking past a tree. It's tiny. You barely notice it. A few years later, it's still kind of small. Then you come back 10 years later and it's towering over your head. Massive. Unstoppable. And you're like, when did this happen? That's compounding. But people underestimate it all the time. Not because it's hard to understand, but because it's hard to feel. We live in a world where we expect fast. Lose 10 pounds in a week. Make 10K a month in 30 days. But compounding? It's slow. Boring even. At first. And then it punches you in the face with how powerful it is. Warren Buffett. Yeah, the guy we always hear about. Do you know what his net worth was when he turned 50? It was around $300 million. But you know what's really insane? 99% of his net worth came after his 50th birthday. Today he's worth over $100 billion. Because he stayed in the game long enough for compounding to do its magic. But here's why this messes with people. We're wired to think in linear terms, not exponential. So when you save a bit and your investments grow a little and then a little more, it's like, okay, cool, I made $50 this month, great. And your brain goes, this is doing nothing. Let me buy a new phone instead. But what you don't see is that those tiny, boring steps, they're laying the foundation